Okay, welcome to our next podcast talk. We got Darcy sitting in with us today. She's going to be monitoring the conversation and making sure it goes how she wants it to.
Yay, Darcy.
And yeah, we thought we'd talk today about Grace's hospital stay that she had that we mentioned when I was talking to Emily in the last video. And Deanna's back with us and learnt new things, and Grace is much better than she was, and they're home, so that's brilliant news. And yeah, so
Yes.
how was it?
Well, we are glad to be home. That is such a blessing. Yeah, it was really hard. Say that again?
I said, and we're glad to see you home.
Yay.
Clap.
Yeah, it was really tough to, going back to the hospital. Now, I know we kind of talked about Grace's previous hospital stay, but that was totally voluntary. That was all updates. This was definitely for an emergency type issue. And normally we would try to ride something out at home because we can usually manage, but something just told us that, it was the right time to go in, especially with her symptoms that started that morning. And then we went in that afternoon.
What were her symptoms?
So typical symptoms that usually we see, which are fever, started with the fever, and then it was elevated heart rate. So when she's sleeping, she's usually about 90 beats per minute. And then it was, while she was resting, it was up to like 120, 125, which is normally what she's at when she's active. And then when she was kind of awake, about 150s, 160s. And then she was having a lot more labored breathing, like retractions. So you could see underneath her rib cage, like more chest breathing. And so she had been that really early in the morning. And I thought, well, maybe this is more respiratory stuff that we could manage. She's colonized.
Yeah.
So she's colonized with that Pseudomonas, and we thought, okay, well, she could be acting up because we were off one medication. We go back and forth every other month. And then we upped her breathing treatments and nothing was really working. And the retractions were just really deep, looked very uncomfortable. And we're like, we need to go in. And I'm glad we did, because once they found, so she ended up with a UTI. They found that first, and then they found the blood infection later. And we're glad we went in and caught the blood infection early, because it did not lead to any kind of sepsis. So we confirmed with infectious disease that we had caught it early enough to where it really wasn't going to cause her to have like really low blood pressure and more problems. So
I'll see once you start going into the sepsis sort of thing, it escalates really fast. Within hours, it's just.
Yeah, and I think you said Darcy had sepsis once, right?
Yeah, she did. Yeah. That's a matter of hours. It just went from what you're saying, the temperature, the high heart rate, the breathing, to she's not going to make it through the night. That's just like a matter of hours. Escalates really, really fast. But,
yeah, and they didn't find that really until later on in the night. So we had been in the ED, the emergency department, for several hours, and they immediately gave her a dose of steroids to help inflammation, especially because of like her lungs and just some of the respiratory issues that she has. And then they started some antibiotics right away. Then
okay.
Doing all right?
Have you got this? You got this? She's all right.
All right. Got to make sure she's number one is taken care of.
She's quite good at handling coughs and things. Sometimes, but she's normally got it. You
That's
okay?
really good.
You okay? Yeah. You okay? She's okay.
Good. We like good coughers. Good coughers are good. That's a good thing.
Yeah, it's one thing she's always been good at, actually, which has been a big help for her,
Yeah, that's Grace too. She just hacks it all up. I mean, she might turn red, but she gets it all up. That's good.
And then Darcy does this thing where she'll push it all to the front of her mouth, and then it just comes out.
Oh my goodness, Grace does the same thing, and then if it's like her drool, it just becomes this slimy mess, and it just yeah.
But Darcy did learn, actually. We have like little towels which Beck calls bibbles. Is it bibble?
Bibble. They're muslin squares.
Bibbles, because they're for dribble. But yeah, Darcy has normally got one with her, and she'll grab it and she'll go like that and start licking it to get everything. She's figured out her own little thing.
That's awesome. I'm gonna start calling. Grace has some too. I'm gonna start calling them bibbles too.
Bibble. I don't know how the name came about. How did Bibble come about?
A bib for her dribble.
Oh, a bib for her dribble.
Oh, a bib for her dribble. Oh, I like that. See, that's cute. My grandma calls them her drool cloths. I'm like, drool?
Drool cloths.
Drool just sounds so like so much.
You need bibbles in your life.
I need bibbles. Yeah, I'm gonna have to definitely start using that.
Yeah, sorry, interrupted your well, Darcy's here. You're going to get a lot of interruptions, but
That's fine. That's totally fine.
where are you going? Where are you going?
Yeah.
I'm trying to lean forwards now.
So yeah, when we were at the ED, they immediately did chest X-ray. They got urine sample. They did all the blood cultures, respiratory viral samples. They did the whole workup, which is great about being there.
Yeah.
And then eventually we were finally admitted, and like I said, late that night is when they caught the blood infection. So, but what was really interesting is that by Sunday she was already looking better, and then by Monday she was pretty much almost back to her baseline, except for the fact that she was still using some oxygen, and not a lot of oxygen. So when you looked at her, she didn't even look like she was sick.
Do you know what she was given?
Well, at first she was given cefepime, so the antibiotic cefepime, and then they had told us, because of the blood infection, they wanted to see what was going to come back on the growth and what it was going to be resistance to. So it was Klebsiella, so that's the bacteria, which she's had before in her UTIs, and
in the names of medications, I forget within seconds. So.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, then they went her. So then once they found out it was a Klebsiella, then they changed the antibiotic to vancomycin. So that's another kind of heavy duty one.
Okay.
But then her trach culture came back with Klebsiella as well, and then with a staph. So there was 2 extra things outside of the normal Pseudomonas that we usually see. So that Klebsiella had really kind of gotten everywhere, and it.
So that's the infection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So go ahead.
I was just saying, I missed that bit where you said the name. I thought you were saying another medication.
Well, they're all so clinical.
Yeah, I know. So
yeah.
Klebsiella.
Yeah, Klebsiella.
Okay.
That is the bacteria. So we talked to her infectious disease doctor, which was really awesome. And everybody on her team was really awesome. We had one of our favorite PICU doctors there, a couple of them. And he was telling us, Klebsiella lives in our gut. and most likely it probably, got into the kidneys. And the thing is that because it, is all over us, she probably got it from all the diarrhea and watery poop that she was having from this whole IBD thing. So that's one of the things. And then he was saying that also because we have drool. So the staph that was part of it. He says, the staph and other bacteria, normally live on us. They live in our nose, they live in our mouth, they live everywhere. They live on our skin. And he said the most important thing we can do for her, because she has a trach, the foreign object, in her body, is to keep her skin, as clean as possible. And he talked about a possible like small aspiration from her drool, being that if the staph was living in her nose and her mouth and she had a minor choking episode, like on her drool, like coughing, then it is possible that that also went down into her lungs, which caused it to then show up there. So very, very interesting.
Yeah. Oh, I just noticed Darcy's just she's well into it.
She's like, yeah, she's like, bring it on. So,
Sleep, isn't she? I think.
His thing was, making sure that our kiddos don't have any rashes, any skin breakdown, our skin is moisturized, clean. He actually said for us that, because we talked about her bathing schedule, and I said, well, Grace gets a bath every other day, and there's 2 days where she goes back to bath. I asked him, I said, is that not enough? And he's like, no, that's actually really good. He says that, well, we as Americans, he said, we probably bathe too much. He said, some people do it twice a day, once a day. He says, once a day is really all you need. No extreme hot water. And he recommended this type of cleanser, which they use when they're scrubbing surgically, called Hibiclens. And it's basically like an antimicrobial type soap. And he recommended it for Grace to use, once every couple weeks, just to kind of, build up some resistance to some of this bacteria.
So that's is that a brand or a type of soap?
Yeah, it's a specific brand and that's the name, and it's HIBICLEANSE. And mind you, this is because Grace has that staph. So the staph, Pseudomonas, I definitely probably wouldn't recommend without, talking to someone and,
I was just thinking I could put like a link in the description just to what it is.
Yeah, and he definitely said, I would never use this more than like once a week, every couple weeks. It's good as just kind of a maintenance to help reduce the amount of bacteria.
Just saying it's Hibby Scrub here. Rebecca just informed me.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Hibby Scrub.
So yeah, I mean, he's like, you don't want to kill off all the good bacteria that's on your skin. He's like, but you obviously need to, check this, staph and all this other stuff. And he even recommended for us, like us, whoever lives in the house, he's like, you guys should also probably bathe with it, once every couple weeks as well. But his biggest thing was, keeping her skin moisturized and, making sure she had no rashes, no cuts or anything like that. And the more moisture she has, her skin being nice and kept well, then hopefully the less of this kind of type of, infection that we would see. So that was pretty interesting.
That's some good information though that he's given you.
Yeah, I loved just talking with him. We were talking about everything because when they had told me blood infection, I immediately thought, oh my gosh, she's septic. This is really bad. She's got sepsis. And so I asked him, I said, well, is she considered septic? And he's like, well, no. He said, because she didn't have added on low blood pressure. He's like, that wouldn't put her in that category just yet. So that was really interesting to hear as well.
That's well, good news that she wasn't septic.
Yeah. And then she was doing so well. I mean, the only thing that they were doing there were, once they figured out what antibiotics she needed, which was meropenem, that's what she ended up going on, which was, again, very strong antibiotic that was going to, kill everything.
Yeah.
They're like, we're not really doing anything else for her. And she was stably really, really well. They're like, that's when they offered the PICC line. So they offered to place the PICC line for us to give the IV antibiotics and finish it up at home. And then, kind of not have to be in the hospital for another, because it's a 14-day treatment. So we would have been there at least until today at a minimum.
That was the same with Darcy, but the sepsis, she was in there for 2 weeks. So yeah,
Yeah.
treatment. But it's amazing, isn't it? I always find like how one day you're just, I don't know, you get up, have breakfast, whatever, and then that's it. You don't see your house for 2 weeks or something, or
Yeah.
it's so sudden, isn't it? Like you're stuck in a hospital. And
Yeah. And life is so busy in the hospital, and then with COVID on top of it. I mean, luckily our hospital is now 2 parents are allowed during the day, but only 1 overnight. So, I mean, that was good. Chris and I could rotate and see, be there also during the day, but it's so busy. I mean, we saw cardio, I spoke to urology, I spoke to infectious disease, of course, the PICU doctors, I spoke to nephrology, I spoke to, who else? I think, there was someone else. GI, we spoke to GI as well. I mean, it's like the rotation of specialists that come in, and then it's their fellows that come in, and then you have the residents, and oh my goodness, it's so hard to keep track of everybody.
So what seriously. So I'll just make sure she's comfortable.
Yeah.
So what were the main things you learned you wanted to share? Because you had some sort of did you learn?
Well, let's see. The HIPAA cleanse and, doing some extra maintenance, that was one of them that was really important. And then the idea that, these small choking episodes that I mean, about choking and aspiration, but just even thinking about your own, nasal drip and drool and what that contains as far as bacteria and how that, could travel down to your lungs, just that little bit, and set off a whole chain reaction that,
Yeah, that's quite mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're thinking, I mean, I like trying to grow certain mushrooms like lion's mane, turkey tail, these medicinal type ones.
Mm-hmm.
And you get agar plates that you can start the cultures in. And I thought, that'd be pretty cool for doing a little nose and see what sort of what grows. I bet there's loads of little bacterias and things hiding away.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's so interesting. Yeah. It would be really interesting to see. I would like to know what is growing. So if you do it, let me know, because that's fascinating.
Identify it, but probably look at it and go,
You're like, okay, never mind. But also, so once Grace started with this antibiotic, this meropenem, we've been having that whole like bloody poopy stool GI IBD issue with the inflammation. Well, it's killing all kinds of bacteria. Well, her poopy went back to the normal color and no more blood. So it has also killed any bacteria that was causing inflammation in her gut. So her IBD right now is actually being handled by this antibiotic.
Yeah, that's really good. I mean, Darcy as well. She's had hello.
Oh.
Me. um, she had a UTI at the same time when you went in. She's had a UTI. And yeah, the antibiotics she was on, they were like, oh, clear up everything. And whenever she's had a UTI and we're given those sort of antibiotics, we're really happy about it because we're like, oh, anything that's hiding in her body, it's just gonna, clear her out, and she'll be
Yeah.
great. It's
Yeah.
quite good, isn't it? Knowing that they're on good medication and.
It is. It is. The only thing I didn't like about this one is it causes, extreme runny poo and cramping because of that. So that's the only downfall. Yeah.
But
I
don't know. It's sometimes it's worth it, isn't it? Because you just don't know what's hiding, and these children seem to have a way of just surprising us with things.
Yeah. So hopefully in a couple of days we're going to start back up on the IBD medicine and see if that keeps her inflammation down. And our GI doctor is going to talk to another GI doctor that wanted to meet up, to talk with other kids that are having some of the same issues. So that'll be really good for them to kind of consult with each other. And then, we're hoping to, get back started on some real food to help kind of solidify some of this runny poo, because we don't want to have another UTI, and her urologist is going to order a repeat VCUG to check the kidney reflux. So we'll be doing that soon as well.
Yeah, because that can cause a lot of UTIs, can't it? The kidney. Yeah.
Well, we've been on this prophylactic antibiotic, and her urologist was like, well, it should have hopefully, not let one break through. But now we're thinking, well, maybe we need to do kind of a switch, 3 months on, one type of antibiotic, and then 3 months on another, and kind of go back and forth so she doesn't get.
We've got a prophylactic, but it seems to. I don't think it's that great all the time. Sometimes it's fine, but sometimes, she still has UTIs. So, I think it's nitrofurantoin she's on. So yeah, I know what you mean about the prophylactics. They're not always the best, are they?
No, and
bacterias as well. Like some are just like totally immune to things like that.
Yeah, well, this definitely that Klebsiella was probably pretty more resistant to it anyways, and it's like, we were actually trying to get off the medication. We hadn't had one in over a year. We were getting ready to say bye-bye, and well, guess not.
You'll get there again.
Yeah. But
the way it's like, when we have little problems happening and stuff, I'm just thankful we're sitting here at 2.5 years. When back then, when Darcy was born, just thinking about 2 months was a massive, milestone. So there's always the upsides, isn't there? Then
there is, and once coming home, and we had to deal with the PICC line. The PICC line is, it's very scary because when you're dealing with it at home, again, that's a line that goes straight in, where it ends right into her heart. So you don't want any infection getting into her heart. But then it's like, you're thankful at least you have that opportunity. So
yeah. I mean, is she on less medications now than, say, when she was born?
Oh yeah, we are on, I think she has 5 real medications and like a couple like we can use here and there, like as needed. But 5 is what we have. A lot of the other stuff is more like vitamins and
I tend to like, if I get a bit like, I just try and remember what it was like before, and I often then I'm like, no, actually, we're in a better position now.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
true. It's true. And, things change as they grow. And I was talking with the PICU doctor, and when I was talking with her, she mentioned, she's like, this is, new for us too. And, some of these things we're kind of figuring it out as, we grow with her, because hasn't been a lot of these kids have had the chance to live this long. So, this is also good for them because they're learning and seeing what these kids are capable of. So,
And I hope actually some of the medical professionals, I hope they get round to watching some of our videos and that, and maybe we change a few views and things, and I don't know. One day, one of them might be standing in a emergency room and making an important decision. They'll go, actually, that bit of information, I don't know.
yeah.
I hope they do change views and change minds. And it's like you said, as they grow older, there's a lot of professionals that are learning from them, and it's great. It's really good.
Yeah, it's really good. And I had the great opportunity to be paired up with another mom that was actually in the hospital as well. Her child had something completely different than, trisomy 13, but was on the same journey. And it's like, we have to help each other and be there for each other, because we understand these journeys that we go through, and thankful that we have at least a good enough to say, hey, you guys should probably talk, and you guys can help each other out. So
I was thinking this just the other day, actually. Just because a child the same condition, it doesn't mean the parents aren't experiencing a similar journey. And I think it's good for everyone to sort of talk and, I know a few people that are in their children have got totally different things, but their journey's so similar. When I see the things they're doing day to day and that, and I think, wow, we do that, or we do this, or
yeah,
it's interesting.
yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. I think at the end of the day, as parents, we really just would want the same things for, our children that, any other child has or will do. So it's a good thing.
We do. I'm just gonna try and move Darcy. Oh, are you waking up? No. I thought she'd be good on this video and get involved, and this is her getting involved.
Oh yeah, she's got to help. She's like, guys, you wouldn't be talking about all this stuff if it wasn't for me.
It's like I mentioned in the last video, actually. Her sleep's all upside down at the moment. I think I mentioned it. I'm sure I did. Oh yeah, I've done a little update just a Darcy update. I think I mentioned about her sleep, but yeah, she's awake at night at the moment and asleep during the day. So she's just at the moment. This is near her current morning now.
I can't believe her.
She'll wake up soon and want to be, rolling around and playing. Won't you? He's stirring.
She's like, that was such a good sleep. Such good naps I had. Good morning.
It's this. This is the problem. Her thumb. The second this thumb goes in her mouth, she's like,
Darcy, can't do that. Can't do that.
I just breathed in and got a mouthful of her hair.
Got the little wild tuft going on in the back.
Yeah, this actually it starts sort of dreadlocking. She goes like that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of mats it into little dreads, and we have to keep combing it out. And but yeah, you probably won't see, but it's very. I only brushed it like out like yesterday. I done one. Yesterday I done one, and it's already reforming.
Oh my gosh.
Like, it doesn't matter how much we brush her hair. It's like the front's all like fine, but the back just gets really, it'd be like a matter of half an hour or so of her going like
Yeah.
that. But yeah, it's a funny little tuft.
Yeah, Grace does that too as well. Like, yeah, we have to constantly get the back, and I swear because of it, she's got, the back is finally trying to catch up with the rest of her hair. Her front is really long, and I feel like the back is a lot shorter because she does that a lot.
She's got quite a strange growth pattern as well, actually. Like she's got a bit of a like a cow's lick at the front, but then her hair just sits weird. It doesn't seem to sit like everyone else's. Like it would just go into weird places and not work.
It doesn't matter. It's beautiful. It's just like even Claire's hair. I love that little tornado thing she's got going on.
Before I stop this video as well, because I think we've covered a lot in this, I was going to say we will get you and Emily on the next video, I think, if she, because you're dying to say hello, aren't you?
I'm dying to say hello. Oh my goodness. Yes. So
And, yeah, she'll be more than happy to come and see you and that, and I think it'd be cool, the three of us chatting, and so yeah, we can share more stories and more Trisomy 13 adventures, and keep sharing these stories as much as we can.
absolutely.
Just a shame Darcy can't talk and share her story from her point of view. That'd be really cool.
Oh, I bet you should have some choice words to say about all of us.
Yeah,
I can only imagine some of the stuff that I think Grace thinks about in her head. Like, God, you guys.
It's funny how angry Darcy can get when we're clearly irritating her in some way or another, and they're so easily irritated, these children.
They're two, so I guess we could go with the old saying, terrible two.
Yeah.
Alone. I've got the attitude. Yeah.
She's totally got that. What I'm going to do, I'm going to stop this video here and maybe try and wake Darcy up. And hopefully by the next video, we might have got sort of slightly normal sleep routine again. And we can, as I said, get Emily on. And maybe Claire, maybe Grace, maybe we can get them all together.
Yeah. I'm hoping by next week, Grace will be feeling a lot better, even more her happy self.
It would be good to see her.
Yeah.
So I'm going to stop this here. And anyone that's, wants to ask any questions or anything, or, leave a comment below. And we will write the scrub. Can't remember what it's called.
Hippie cleanse. Hippie scrub.
And Hippie scrub. Yeah, I'll write that in the comments below. So anyone interested in that or wanting to know more can have a look. And I'll put our Instagrams and the usual links to Soft America and Soft UK and the Trisomy 13 groups on Facebook, which are extremely helpful. And yeah, that's it really. Thank you for watching and listening again. And I hope you're all keeping well out there. So yeah, from us, see you next time.
Bye, guys.